You're good.
Hello, the Instagram. Smooth Manny is recorded, so we're live, right?
We're live.
And then you're going to be feed me some questions that I answer. After last night, we did the 1 billion view live stream. Thank you so much to everyone who brought us there and supported us and made that happen. And then this is last minute. Sunday, we are going to be live streaming the Biden and Bernie. God. We're going to be live streaming the Biden-Bernie debates. That's where we are. When do the debates start? They start at 8?
There's 8 Eastern, 8 to 10 Eastern. We'll start at
8 to 10
7:30.
Eastern. So we will start probably 15 minutes before 8 Eastern. So 7:45, so we can kind of brief you guys on the debates. And we'll have half Asian lawyer Bill Richmond. You can see him back there. He'll be there. I will be there, as well as the whole crew, our brilliant researcher Reg. So we will be live fact-checking the debates, have a drinking game, which this time it might be different as opposed to specific words. It'll just be any time Biden or Bernie stutter. So anytime they stutter, you're going to take a drink. And that's just, we're keeping it limited to American loggers because we don't want anyone getting alcohol poisoning on our behalf. So that's Sunday, call it 8 Eastern. It'll be 7:45, we start a little bit early. And I'm looking forward to it. We didn't want to do all of the debates, the live streams, because there are so many people, and we said we're only going to do it once it narrows down to the last two. These are the last two, and it seems like this might even be the last debate. We don't know before convention, so we're definitely going to cover it. Plus, we had a super video planned, and we couldn't do it because of the coronavirus, so we couldn't do the traveling.
Brings to two questions.
Okay.
What do you think about the coronavirus?
I don't. I have it on good authority that there will be a national emergency declared in a little bit, and that's different from what we talked about before, which was a public emergency, which I actually believe, I misspoke in that coronavirus video. Public emergency was comparable to what Barack Obama and Donald Trump. Here's the thing. I think you should take the proper precautions. You should wash your hands, right? You should make sure to try and reduce contact with people who you don't know could be infected, and don't touch your face. So either way, there's not much more you can do. As far as, do I think that we should be panicking right now? No, I think the media has been pretty irresponsible with this. And here's something else I think. We see a lot of people saying, we need a nationalized healthcare system. This, to me, I want to be clear, okay? Anyone who dies from this virus, it's a tragedy. Of course, my heart goes out to the families, anyone affected, of course, in Italy. Now, that being said, could you have any more proof positive that the United States is the country everyone looks to as it relates to healthcare? Hey, Italy, how about you solve it? France. No, they're blaming President Donald Trump because the expectation is that the United States comes up with the cure to coronavirus. They expect the United States and the evil pharmaceutical. No one's talking about, no one's condemning Western medicine now, right? People aren't giving you, they're not giving you rhubarb root for coronavirus. All of a sudden, people want Big Pharma to come to the rescue and come up with a cure. And hopefully they do. And you know what? If they do, I think those people, they've said that they'll be giving it out for free. And I think afterwards, they should be billionaires. Whoever finds a cure for coronavirus should be a billionaire. By the way, you think we're crazy now when we talk about death panels? If you're in Italy, you're over the age of 70, you're just put at death's door on a waiting list because they do have to ration care. You have a country where it's, 57? I don't have the source. 57, 67 days to see a cardiologist. I think it's 10 to 12 months to see a neurologist in Italy. You want to... Yeah, that's a real problem. I bet you those people would love to have access to the kind of privatized care here that allows Bernie Sanders to get 4 stints in, 3 hours? Anyway.
Big Jack 792 says he's joining Mug Club today.
Thank you, Big Jack. We appreciate it. Oh, I don't have... This is the Black Rifle tumbler, which, listen, I always use the mug, but I just came in from the car, and sometimes the Black Rifle tumbler travels better. But thank you very much for Mug Club. We have a promo code going on, CrowderBillion, and make sure to use that. You get $20 off here for the next couple of days.
Someone's asking, what do you think about the bill the House is trying to pass? I assume they mean like the stimulus package to help the stocks.
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, there are so... I mean, do you have any idea how many bills going through any given day? So I'd have to know more specifics.
Someone's asking about free healthcare people in Canada and how that works.
I don't know. What do you mean how it works? I mean, you pay a 52% income tax and you still pay for 70% of the drugs that you want, and you have a 3 to 6 time waiting period compared to the United States. Where I was in Quebec, it was 2 to 3 years to get a family doctor. And for the kind of stints that you would want to get in your heart, like Bernie Sanders did, I believe it was 3 months. I'm not exactly sure. I know in Italy it's 57 days because I was just looking this up recently. So yeah, listen, that's free healthcare, crippling taxes, and lackluster care by objective measurements compared to the United States.
TKLO Jared says, just want to say congratulations on 1 billion views. You're a huge inspiration to me and my channel.
Well, thank you very much. Hopefully I'm not the only inspiration, because then you'll make many horrible mistakes. People say they live without, people say like, no regrets. What? Who has no regrets? That's silly to me. Of course I have regrets. Of course everyone should have regrets. If you say you have no regrets, it means that you've never learned how you could improve something. So, in other words, I appreciate that I'm an inspiration, but don't have my regrets.
George Ibrahim 20 says, Stephen, I'm a Christian from a Muslim country, and we face so much persecution here. Why does the media never talk about us?
You know, so one of the super videos that we actually had planned was Christians are more persecuted, Christians are more oppressed than Muslims. Changed my mind, and couldn't do that one because of coronavirus right now. So this kind of throw our schedule for a loop. You know, I don't want to say your guess is as good as mine. I know exactly why. Because it's counter to the narrative that we see in the media, right? They want us to believe that this is all framed so that white Christian males in particular, but Western Christians are the bad guy. And so when Islamic terrorism is committed on a massive scale and we say, hey, we need to look at this Islamic terrorism or the inspiration therein, they say, well, hold on a second, that's xenophobic. You're discriminating against Muslims, right? So, okay, the bad guy is the white Christian. Understood. But then when the Islamists burn people alive and beat their women, or women aren't allowed to drive, they say, let's not talk about that.
Thoughts on how pro-Second Amendment Trump is? Question mark?
That's a good question. I don't know. Here's what I will say. Trump is, I think President Trump is a little too easily influenced on those things. I don't know how pro-Second Amendment he was before he became president. He's a New Yorker. I know his kids are. I know Donald Trump Jr. is and Eric Trump because of not only their background in hunting, but they're big Second Amendment advocates, and I know that's genuine. As far as Donald Trump, here's what I think about, and you guys can let me know if you agree or not. I feel like Donald Trump was someone who was a moderate, who was going to run for office, and I think that he expected he might get sort of the Lieberman treatment, where liberals was like, oh, we disagree with him, but Donald's one of us, because he would go to cocktail parties with these people in New York and Los Angeles. And instead, they came out and attacked him as racist and sexist and xenophobic. And so once he became president, he became more conservative. All right, screw these guys, they can go to hell. And so now I think a part of it is he's more conservative than he was. And a part of it, if we're being honest, can be just to spite the people who try to destroy his name.
What is your morning hair routine?
I don't have a morning. Smooth Manny can tell you, I don't have a morning hair routine. I come in here usually in the mornings after the gym because we do pitch and we go through some jokes. Sometimes we tape sketches. Then I go and shower. And so what I do is I get out of the shower and I do this.
Christian_Schaller?
Oh, wait, hold on a second. That's not true. For the first time in like years in high school, I used gel, because it was like the spiky hair thing. But I had a haircut, and it was just like I had these hairs sticking out. And we do have hair products here, not for Gerald, but we have hair products here, for Bill and people. And I used some paste for the first time, and it got rid of those little alfalfas going on. I said, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And smart-ass Quarter Black Garrett said, yeah, it's almost like there's an entire industry in just trying to keep your... So I don't really use anything. I put in some cedarwood oil because apparently that'll help keep you from going bald, but that could be bullcrap.
Christian_Schaller 3 has a good one. Which one's better, Biden or Sanders?
Okay, so it depends on the question. Which one is better for the country? No one. Biden. If gun to my head, I have to choose one of them as president, God forbid, I would choose Biden over Bernie Sanders. Because Biden is certainly more of a moderate than Bernie Sanders. Who is easier? Who's better in the sense of who's easier to beat? Well, I used to say Bernie Sanders was the hardest person to beat. Why? Because he would beat Donald Trump the way Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton, right? Bernie Sanders does well. He does well in the Rust Belt because all the unions really like him. He appeals to these people with his socialist policies. That being said, the economy has been going so well, and I know coronavirus notwithstanding, this little temporary blip, we'll see how that can affect the election. It's pretty tough to argue to do a 180 with socialist policies considering the American economy. So I think at this point, Biden certainly loses the way Hillary Clinton lost, because I don't think people come out to support him. And I think Bernie probably loses. I still think Donald Trump wins, but I think it's a walk-off, barring something unforeseen once this corona stuff goes through and people stop with the panic. But I think Bernie still might be a little tougher than Biden, but I think he's easier to beat now than I thought he was 8 months ago.
Someone wants clarification on if the debate is on the 15th. They understood it was today. Could you reiterate the live stream?
No, the live stream, the debates are on Sunday the 15th. Now, let me get this. I don't want to be coming in on a Sunday night. I don't know if these people want to be coming in on a Sunday night, but we do this for you. So Sunday the 15th, we will be here, all of us, the crew, Half Asian Bill. We're going to have some surprises for you, but it's really, you know what, this one is, since we're pulling it together last minute, it'll be less produced. You know, it's going to be me with a camera. We're going to be watching the debate and live fact checking it. So I always appreciate, I always want to produce more for you guys, but sometimes the stuff that's the most relaxed ends up being the most successful, and I feel pretty good about it because I've been studying Biden and Bernie for a long time right now. I've got a lot of info stored up that I don't even know that I'll need to reference any sheets. I've got it in the noggin. These are horrible, horrible candidates, so it will be a very fun debate. I mean, it'll be soul-crushing, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to make fun of.
Thoughts on getting rid of late-term abortion?
Yes, we shouldn't have late-term abortions, period. I don't even understand the argument for it. The argument used to be safe, legal, and rare, and when does life begin? Well, if you say, pardon me because we can't bleep this right now, if you say that it's not a life when it's a 7 or 8 month baby, fuck you. That's my belief on late-term abortion. I think it's evil, and I think anyone who supports it is supporting evil. Thus, I think every single candidate for the DNC outside of Tulsi Gabbard is actively supporting evil by not being willing to put any restrictions on abortion. If you don't believe me, fact check me on that. Run a search. When does Bernie believe that there should be a cutoff for abortion, or Joe Biden? You won't find it.
Riley Honeycutt asks, do you still
These are bullshit names.
No, I swear. He says, do you still do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? And if so, what system are you involved with?
Well, I imagine that you don't do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is the system. Yes, and actually Smooth Manny has gotten pretty good too. I have these nagging injuries, so I do a lot of flow rolling and a lot of drilling. But yeah, I've been a purple belt for a long time, and I just do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. My instructor is a black belt under the Machado brothers, if that means anything to you. But yeah, it really is a passion of mine, and I think every man should do some kind of combat sport, some kind of individual sport, whether that's jiu-jitsu, whether it's wrestling, whether it's boxing or kickboxing. I'm eliminating the stuff that, the kung fu and the Krav Maga, the stuff that doesn't, the showy stuff that doesn't really work right now. But combat sports, I think, is a great tool for men to really learn how to control their ego, because you realize really quickly, no matter how good you get, there's always someone better. And you also realize that it's just almost everything that you do, even if you're not that naturally skilled or talented, it comes down to time. If you get the reps in and you spend enough time with something, you will get better. And it's something that can be quantified in jiu-jitsu. You can get that with the weight room too, but it's not another human being. So I think it's really important for everyone, but particularly young men.
Sully4284 says, where has Trump let you down?
Where has Trump let me down? Well, talking about that, I was disappointed after I can't remember which shooting it was. Was he one of them? Was it bump stocks?
Bump stocks.
Yeah, bump stocks. I was disappointed in that because that tells me that he can be fooled, unfortunately, by some political pressure just for optics. Because I can make a bump stock out of my belt loop. Anyone who knows anything about guns knows that banning bump stocks is silly, futile, and it does nothing. So I was disappointed by that, and I've been disappointed that actually up until recently, his proposed budget, which actually did slash a lot. Up until then, I was definitely disappointed with the level of spending. But now, of course, everyone is saying, he wants to slash Social Security, he wants to slash Medicare. Listen, he wants to downsize the scope of government, period, across the board. So you can pick anything and say he wants to slash insert program here. What he wants to do, or at least this administration, is make it more efficient. So that was where I was most disappointed. I'm less disappointed now, would be the bump stocks and the spending.
Alex Radewell asks, what's a good counterpoint when someone says our healthcare system kills poor people?
I mean, you could just look up the multiple videos that we've done. People say that, but the fact is, the single greatest indicator of you surviving a serious terminal illness or disease, rich or poor, is do you live in the United States? That's it. That's what it is. our wait times are better. And people will always throw out the stat from the Commonwealth study or the World Health Organization study. That's where they have us ranked, I think, 37th. Okay, you know who's ahead of us? Colombia. Right, and we're right next to, I think, is it Latvia, Cuba? We're right there neck and neck. Just compare the wait times. Compare the amount of time it takes to see a specialist, like a neurologist, like a cardiologist, like a dermatologist. I needed to see a dermatologist in Canada. We were pretty poor. It was over a year. Okay? Now, thank God I was fine, but my dad had serious melanoma, okay, skin cancer. It was right here on his temple. You can go back to the old shows. We did the funniest cancer joke off because we were just mocking my dad's cancer. He enjoyed it. And he got in right away. He got to see the doctor right away, and he needed to have that surgery immediately because the melanoma could spread. Apparently, I don't know how this works to his brain, even though it's on his skin. Someone out there who maybe is an oncologist may know this. So within 24 hours, he was in getting surgery. There was no way we would have ever done that in Canada. Rich or poor.
Kelsey Simcoe asks, what's the next Change My Mind going to be?
Well, coronavirus. We had a lot planned. I can't tell you all of that right now, but one of them was Christians are more oppressed than Muslims, healthcare is not a fundamental human right, and that Donald Trump has done more for black people than any president in modern history. So those are ones that we're planning on doing. Also, fat pride is stupid. We wanted to actually this was when we wanted to, again, coronavirus, where we wanted to set this up outside of a fat pride event and actually have a stack of $1,000 where people could submit themselves to a stress test from a qualified medical practitioner. And anyone who was in the morbidly obese category who could do this would get that. I actually think it was $500, a stack of $500 cash. Because people say, oh, you can be healthy at all weights and sizes. No, you can't.
I can't read this name. It's Jerkonjisma, but he's asking...
He is Colombian. I just trashed Colombian healthcare. It's a smooth man, and he is Colombian.
He's asking, when's your Change My Mind book coming out? I need to know.
Yeah, we should have done the Change My Mind book a long time ago. I don't know. You know, that's one of those things where I know I could just pawn it off to a ghostwriter because I could go here in my files and pull up several hundred pages of just the prep that we've done for it. I couldn't give you a specific, but maybe I would like to have it out before Christmas this year.
We got to go. You have a meeting, but someone's asking, what's a left-wing idea you agree with?
A left-wing idea I agree with. I guess in the broad general idea, both left-wing and conservatives agree that we should be compassionate toward our fellow man. And so I think a lot of liberals, I certainly don't think that people like Bernie or the people who are kind of at the top of the leftist pyramid are doing it necessarily for altruistic reasons. Some of them may. But I know that a lot of liberals out there, particularly college students or particularly a lot of young women who find themselves sort of liberal by default, they do it because they think it's compassionate. And so the idea of wanting to help out your fellow man, I don't think it's a left-wing idea because Jesus talked about that. And conservatives, we all believe in helping our fellow man. We believe the best way to do that is by using the system that's pulled more people out of poverty than ever throughout human history, and that's free enterprise. So in concept, I agree with being compassionate and empathetic. In practice, left-wing ideology is stupid.
Last one. Emma Jane and Curls asked, why don't you recommend Krav Maga?
Okay, the final question. I'll tell you why I don't. Here's the thing. There are some decent Krav Maga schools out there. But I don't like selling something based on a lie. The Israeli Defense Forces, they don't really use this, and they certainly don't do Krav Maga the way that you're doing it in this class. They do a very rudimentary basic self-defense course, right? If you're that close in any kind of military combat, you screwed up. Ask anyone who's a Marine, who's an Army Ranger, who's a Navy SEAL, they'll tell you they did not spend any time on hand-to-hand combat. That's effectively an elective. And the reason that I'm a supporter of combat sports over Krav Maga is because you test it against an unwilling opponent every day. Some Krav Maga schools do that, but they put on gloves and headgear, and unless you are practicing to a point that would end a fight, with jiu-jitsu you can do that, right? You are practicing up until attack. In real life, that's it. You're done, right? You're either unconscious or you have a limb broken. With a lot of these other ones, whether it's point sparring or even Krav Maga, someone puts on a face mask and you go, oh, I hit you really hard. That would have been a knockout. Well, was it a knockout? There's still a lot of guesswork. There's no guesswork with judo, with jiu-jitsu. There is some with boxing, but not really because you can kind of tell who's top dog. I think the only way to know how you would react in a real-life situation is to mimic those real-life situations, not, oh, I would have got you, bro. And unfortunately, too, Krav Maga is like the CrossFit of martial arts, where there's no consistency across schools. And you can see some videos of blue belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu just going in and ragdolling Krav Maga people. Better than nothing, but if you're going to invest your time in something that is most effective. And that would be, we know what the most effective martial arts are across the board, okay? It's no longer a question. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, or some variation therein, Sambo, Judo, whatever, and then Western boxing and Muay Thai kickboxing. And then maybe some variation. There's like Kyokushin Karate, which is full contact. Western boxing, Western wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Judo, Muay Thai. We know that works. There's no question.
All right, we got to go. You have a meeting. But last real quick one. Ashley Cardinale asks, as a female working for a liberal company in San Francisco, how do I respond to feminists complaining about mansplaining?
Oof. Well, I have a penis, so I don't know that I'm allowed to have an opinion. But your ovaries give you the right. You know what? This is the thing. A lot of people get it wrong with it. Change My Mind is not a debate. If you want to see debates, go on my channel and search debate. You'll see debates with Naomi Wolf, with Christopher Titus, with writers from Salon and Washington Post. You'll see those debates. Change My Mind is not meant to be a debate. It's meant to be a way to encourage people to provoke thought, to encourage people to think critically through their positions. So I would say use those same techniques. Use the Socratic method. Ask her. Just walk her along the logic trail. Well, what is mansplaining? Why does it bother you? And see if you'll usually find that with a lot of these arguments with identity politics, it comes down to attributing motive. And when you remove that from the equation, kind of like when you remove from the equation with healthcare, people say, well, the UK has better healthcare than us. Well, when you remove subjective polling from the equation and you look at wait times, you look at survival rates, you look at objective parameters, it's no longer an issue. Same thing with identity politics, whether it's mansplaining, white privilege, any of that. Once you remove the trying to ascribe motive, you now get down to the objective measurements of what you're discussing, and it doesn't tend to hold up. So hopefully that helps. And I'm sorry that Smooth Manny from Colombia couldn't pronounce your name. He's not retarded. He's just Colombian.
All right, when's the stream? Sunday?
It is Sunday night. That's the 15th, 8 p.m. Eastern. So we will be starting 15 minutes early. We're gonna stream the hell out of these debates. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you hanging out.